Hello, and welcome here on my working table. My name is Lisbeth. I'm a Danish abstract mixed media artist who likes to do many different things. So look at my playlist and find what interests you. But last week or the week before, I did a lot of jelly printing, and I ended up making a small book, and I can put links to that here under the little word more, and everything else I mention with links on will be here under the little word more. But I ended up with this very nice roll-off sheet when I was done with the jelly printing. And I got thinking about, it is a long time since I made some pieces where I embroidered on these roll-off sheets and make things I could put on the wall. And to get you a little peek here, every time I jelly print, I end up with a lot of these roll-off sheets here, and they are so useful for many things. So I always save the best of them, and I have them here in a big stack. And sometimes when I need inspiration or don't know what to do, or I just flip through them, and then immediately I get new ideas, and I could work further on them, for instance, as a collage, or I can use them for so many things. So save your roll-off sheets, ladies, and gentlemen, if there are anyone of you there. But so this is the plan, to do some stitching on this piece today. And I've just been in my basement and I found a black picture frame, exactly this size here, so I can end up with a very nice thing here. This frame is in Danish 21 by 30 centimeters, and that is nearly exactly the same size as our copy paper is here in Europe. I know you in the US, your copy paper is a little different in size than we do it here in Europe, but that really doesn't matter. Your frames are probably other sizes than ours here in Europe are, but again, that really doesn't matter. So this is a plan to do some stitching, and I really don't know what or where or how or anything yet, other than it would be the colors you saw on the little clip here in the beginning of the video. And that is what I will show you today. And before we get going, I just want to say a little quick peep, and I really don't like to talk much about it, but I have a Ko-fi account if anybody feels like supporting my work or would show some appreciation or what, I don't know what to call it, but and I don't like to talk about it, but don't feel obligated in any way. YouTube is for everybody, and not everybody has the opportunity or the possibilities to do such things, and that is quite fine. So let us get started with the more exciting thing here. As I said, this is only ordinary copy paper with a lot of acrylic paint on, and I have no troubles in stitching into this, but it is of course brittle because copy paper is not a very good quality paper, and you can easily, if you stitch wrong or you stitch in nearly the same hole, you can end up with a big hole instead, and so on. There are several ways you can damage this. But if you have done a lot of it and has a certain practice like I have, it is no problem. But if you want to, you of course can baste it or make it a little more secure to stitch into. So I have this piece of, yeah, in Denmark we call it flisofix, and you can buy it in different thicknesses, and this one is a really thin one. I don't know what it is called in other countries. It is for basting, and there's glue on the one side and not on the other side. So please be sure that you put the glue down on your paper or whatever you're putting it on the right way, so you don't put your hot iron onto the glue, because it is not very nice to put glue on your iron. So I think, as far as I can see, it looks a little glossy. The side there's glue on, and there's not gloss on this side. And I've just cut it out nearly the same size as my copy paper. So I have a little iron here. I have just made it hot, and then I will just iron this on here on the back side of the paper. So it takes a little, I think, but you don't need to see me sitting here holding on an iron, but I think you got it. It's like looking on paint drying, and that isn't not so funny either. So when this is glued down or ironed down, I will cut the edges clean, and then we can start stitching or decide what to do. I was a little clumsy because I got to glue a double thing down, so I just took it off and put another little strip on here and ironed that on. And now I have cut all the edges clean here, so now it is ready for stitching, and you can see it is much more sturdy here now. So now there isn't a big risk for making big holes in my paper, and it feels more there's more to hold on to. So now I will let it lie here, and then I will go and get some lunch and some food for my brain, and then I will talk a little about how to figure out where to stitch where and what stitches I will use. So I will be back with a blink of an eye for you, and a little longer time for me. When I look at my piece, I of course know I want to do something in the circle. I think I would find something I can use for punching the circumference out, and it is a wonky circle there, but I think I will see if I can make it a little more round than this. This is too small, so perhaps I will use this one here and punch holes there, and then I will do something inside. Perhaps I will do a lot of seed stitches. So this is perhaps we can call it the focal point, but also I can see a lot of lines. There's a line there, and there's a line there, there's a line there, and there's a line there, and then there's this other piece there that looks different. You can also go around that. So I know I want to do some running or backstitch lines there and there and there and there. And then again, since I have this circle here, perhaps I can raise a smaller circle here, down here somewhere, so these speak to each other. Or also I could make some smaller ones, even smaller than this one, and make a couple of blanket stitch wheels, perhaps 3 of them there. But the first thing I will go with is this circle, because that is the focal point. So I will take it from there First this and some of the lines, I think. Oh, what is that sound? So let me see here. I think I will find my punch needle here, or my punch thing here. And no, I know what it is now. It's my hobby is running around outside, and we have a water tap at the house, and that is he apparently is going to use water somewhere in the garden. It's the time of the year where everything is starting to grow up and come up in our garden, and he loves to be outside, so I don't see much of him here during the day. So yeah, that's nice. I would have loved to use this here instead, because it's much easier to punch holes with this here than it is with this one here. Boop, boop, boop. What do a wise woman do? Yeah, I think this is too big here. Yeah, I would think a little about what I can do here with this. Can I dare I to punch around it here like this, because it's not nice to put your fingers up to that edge here. So but I think I will go for that. So I will just punch holes here, and will do it with a couple of half a centimeter, I think. I should have taken some gloves on. It is not nice to hold this down. And it also perhaps is sliding too much around. Yeah, now it is sliding around for me. Yeah, you can see the holes here on the back. So, boop, boop, boop. I think perhaps it is better to take my chalk pen and draw a line and then stitch, because I can't. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, I will think a little. I will go for the bigger circle instead, because I can much easier punch holes here in this one here. Up against this one. The crinkly sound is because there's plastic underneath here. And this tool here is one my hobby has made for me. But you can easily make such a tool for yourself. You can just take a cork and punch a needle up in it and give it a dab of glue, and then you have a nice poking tool. Yeah, now I can't remember where I started. And was it somewhere like here, maybe? We'll say that's okay. Yeah, and you can see it on the back here. And there are some of the first holes I made, but that doesn't matter. So now I have my holes here for sewing. This is the thing I mentioned before, just a cork and the needle up in it and give it a dab of glue. And you can have several of them because you can have thicker or thinner needles depending on what you are going to push it through. But let us see here. I have taken this very orange thread here and put it in the finest needle I can thread, because your holes will be neater the smaller needles you use. Also, the smaller needles you can use when you punch. Yeah. So I have just come up here and I will do back stitches. So again, I will come up in the next hole, and here I nearly regretted I have used this Fleece Fix as backing, because it is nearly impossible to see the holes I have pre-poked. If I just have poked in directly in the paper, they would have been much more visible. But yeah, I know that for another time. But if you're new to this, perhaps it is nice to have a sturdier thing to stitch into. Yeah, I just came up here and I'll go back in the previous hole. And come up in the next. Right now I have just had my end dangling there. You can secure it with some piece of tape, or just let it hang there for now. I don't want to make a big fat knot, because that would look like a buckle on when I start to frame it. Perhaps I can come in a little closer here. So then I come up here, next hole, but with the stitches, also one I have shown many times before. Go one back and up in the next, and you can see it's very easy and not any problems to stitch, and you can bend it much more easy here because you have this backing on. Back in the same, and up in the next. You can hear the sound here. It's very rough here. All the acrylic paint sitting there. Down there. And up in the next hole. But I think you got it, and I think it would end up quite wonky, this circle here, because I had troubles with the punching thing here. But I will sew all the way around, and then I can show it to you when I'm done. And if I think it is not so visible as I like, perhaps I can whip the stitches all the way around now, and it went a little better than I had expected. It is not so wonky, so I think I would do anything more about it. So I will just here cut that off and take a little piece of tape there, and put the two ends in here. So that is fine now. So long, so good. Yeah, I think I want to do seed stitches in here, but I don't think I will use the same color. Or do I? You always get cheated, because I think this looks, ooh, hello, can you see me? But it is not so bad when I put it on something dark like this. I could also go for this really hush one here, but perhaps not. I have this one here, Perhaps I will take this one instead and see how that looks. And if I don't like the look of it, I can also always change it to another color. So again here, thread my needle again. Whoops. There, and put these over here. And if anybody wants to know, there's always something asking me about my embroidery thread here. And I can tell you again, it isn't an embroidery thread. It is meant for weaving originally, but it is so nice to sew with. It can sew through anything and it goes smooth through anything. It is a mercerized cotton and it is gauge NM 34/2, and you buy it from a Dutch brand called Venne. Yeah. So let us see here. I will just come up totally random here, and here I won't pre-poke here. That's not necessary here. So I will just come up and go down, and I wonder if, since I now have been backing this, if I can go up and down in one movement, because that's nearly impossible normal with paper. But now I have this backing on, I think I can. Yeah, I can, but if I like the size of the holes or the way the holes will be, I don't know yet, but you are able to do it. Let us say it that way. But I'm so used to stab stitching, so I don't think so much about it. But if you're only a scoop stitcher, you perhaps will find it more irritating, but I think I better can have a grip of what I'm doing if I'm stab stitching. So I will just place my seed stitches here inside the circumference of this circle here, and that would take a little time. It's a quite big area to fill all the space out. But in fact it's very nice to stitch into this here with this backing on, as long as you don't want to be able to see the hole from the back, and I don't need that for this here. Okay, you could see it better here. There. I think it looks promising. But you can see what I mean by taking a thin needle, because then you won't make any big holes. So, but I think you got it. So I have a little time ahead of me filling this circle out. But of course I could always stop and do something else and sew it later, but I would like to show you the end result. That looks quite yummy. Yeah, I will be back. I have been sewing a lot and now my thumb is sore. I have some troubles because I've been sewing too much, so I need to have a little break with this. So I think tonight when I'm looking telly I can sew the rest of this, and I really think it looks nice. But not to stop here, I think I've taken this color here and I think I want to do a line there and there. So again I will pre-poke and see if that is okay here in this Fix background here. But yeah, let me see. Where do I want the line to go? I want one line here, I think. I would have to put this in the frame to see how much I cover up, because I would also like to sew there, but if it gets covered up in the frame, then it is waste of work. So I will go for it here. And I will put it this way, and I think I will go with a 1/2 centimeter in between every hole. Let us see if that works better. Nearly near the end where I want to stop. Yeah, that looks better here on the back side. So I will just do back stitches also here and hope they will be quite visible. Visible. So I will just come up here. Oops. Yeah. Again, it is so difficult to see the punch because I've been through all this paper, all this Fix here. There. And up here. Whoops, and now it got all the way through. So let me start all over and keep. There. And then the next tool. Back. Yeah, is that very visible? Yeah, I will make a couple of stitches more and then take a look. the thread needs really much color, or much, even yeah, how can I say it? If it is quite dark, this piece I have made, so perhaps it would be better with a much lighter color. But sometimes you need to do a little of it before you can decide if it's okay or not. So let me turn it over and see here. No, I think it's okay visible, this line. So I will continue it all the way down here. So far so good. That was a lot of stitching here yesterday evening. A full circle of seed stitches. And then I lined up here because yeah, the paper almost told me what to do and what lines to draw and sew. And yeah, it's a little difficult to show the whole thing at once. And here I chose a very dark color, this one here, and got all the way there down till here, and the line here and up here. And right now I have just been stitching this line here where I chose this very light color and make a line there. And now I'm onto this squarish thing there, and there I have taken this color and stitched a line there, and now I'm onto the ankle here. So I have pre-poked again, like I've showed you. So it's just taking the last stitches here. If I am ever going to do this again, and I probably is, I don't think I want to iron this fix on the back side, because I think it's much more difficult to hit the holes I have pre-poked. If you don't do pre-poking but only will do free motion embroidery, yeah, you can all, it sounds like I'm doing it on my sewing machine, but you could put this in your sewing machine also. But if you're only doing it freehand and not pre-poking, then I can see the benefit from putting this on. But right now it is more annoying me because it takes me twice as long as it normally would have taken me if I just was stitching into paper. But many of you who are not used to stitch into paper could perhaps have benefit of bagging your thin papers this way. So here that was, so again, this is the back side, and I'll just weave my thread end in here, there, and there, that would be there. You can easily get cheated or experience that even though you think this is very light compared to this, but it's because you look at the whole spool and not at the thread itself. Because as soon as you, yeah, now I don't know where the end is, but as soon as you just have the thread by itself, you often have to go some way darker or some way lighter than you think, so you can see it on this very dark background here. So this will just be there, this little mark there, And then I will give it a little thought what else to stitch. I could have chosen several other lines here. There is a line going on there, but right now all my lines are going that way, and I don't think I want any diagonal lines here. I could also have continued this so it would end up like a frame, but I also think this is too obvious. So I think I will stitch a circle here of some kind. I think I will try to go for this size. I know it's a little big to do a buttonhole wheel with, but I think it needs that size. So I'll again just pre-poke here with my pokey tool. And remember, I started up here. There. And then I have to find the middle, and I can see I have some lines here on my tin plate. So if I take my ruler here, that would be in the middle, and that line there will also be in the middle. And I have taken my bigger punch here because that would be a little crowded here in the middle there. So I will just put this through here and massage my hole a little without damaging the paper. So now I am ready, and I have chosen this color here, this huge color. So the way it goes when you do the buttonhole wheels, you always come up in the circumference. I know it seems strange, but that is the way I do it. And I will just have this. Yeah, I think I will secure it because there will be a little, yeah, what can we call, not dragging in it, but in the thread, but it is easier if it's secured. So there. I can't remember if I told you yesterday that I don't like knots here on these things, because then there will sit a knot here and then it will buckle a little if you're unlucky. So I go down, come up in the circumference, and I go down in the middle hole there and keep my thumb here on the thread, and then I come up in the next hole. If I can hit it there, and into the loop, and then you have that sitting there. So again, you go in the hole in the middle, hold your fingers here and make a loop, and come up in the next. Hole, and there. And now it's about not pull so much into your thread so it all buckles, but there has to be some tension so that the line in the circumference lies nice. There. Now we'll remove some of these things so I don't get caught up in them. In the next hole here, and up in the line, in the loop, and the more distance you have between the holes you have punched in the circumference, the more uneven your circle will be. So you have to have a certain amount to have a nice round circle. Up in the loop, and there, in the hole again, and up in the middle, next hole, and there. It is perhaps a little difficult to see here. Up in the middle hole, and into the next hole, and up in the loop, there. And that is all you do all the way around. And if you don't like to change thread on your way around the circle here, take a very long thread, the bigger your circle is. I know how to change thread during the process, but if you don't like to do that, take a very long thread. But I will do this all the way around, and when I come to the end, I can show you how I end this circle here. There. Nice. Oh, now I'm on to the last stitch here in the circle, so I again go down in the middle, come up in the next hole, and that is exactly the same hole where I started, and come up into the loop and secure that, and then I just go down in the same hole again, but on the other side of this thread there. And then it is secured. And doesn't that look nice? So again, I'll just tape this here on the back side. I don't want to weave the ends in here. Oh, yeah, I can use this piece sitting there. So just there, and cut that thread off, and then this is ready. I can also just cut these off. And there. So now this is sitting there, and I think I want to do another one, just a smaller one also. Then there is 3 circles here on my piece, and everybody who knows me know I don't like only 1 or 2. Then I have to have 3. So I would pre-book a smaller one there, I think. Yeah, I will look at it beside the here away from the camera and decide where I put it, and then I would make one exactly like this. But if I would do it in the same color, yeah, I don't know that yet. Yeah, I think it needed a little more, so I ended up with another little pinwheel here. And that's also always a question, to know how to stop, because then you can do a little there and a little there, and suddenly you have filled it totally up, and it gets too much. So yeah, I know you can't see the whole thing here, but I will put it in the frame and take a picture from above here so you can see all the piece, and then I will find a free nail here somewhere in the house and put it up, and take some pictures on it hanging on the wall so you can see it hanging on the wall. But with all your things, I think it is nice if you put your signature on it, if it's things for the wall, especially here when it's on paper. It is easy to write on this. It can be a little more difficult on your fabric collages, but I'll just put my initials here. And that will be all. Yeah, you can't hardly see it, but it's sitting there. So I will pull you up a little higher and see if I can do this. I have my frame here, and I will put it the other way around, and I think I will stand up this time, so it is hopefully you can see all of it. There the frame is. And it doesn't matter which side is up and down, because right now I don't have put the hanger on. So I will just put it in there. And then there was this piece of cardboard I will put over there. And there also was a piece of glass, but I don't like glass on my things. So, and it was quite difficult to take out this glass, because I don't think it was cut correctly. But if it was just to plunk it down, I would do that, because if I at another point want to use this frame for another thing and want the glass, then I know the glass is sitting here on the back. So I will also just put this in here and swip these small, yeah, they probably have a name in English, but I don't know that name. And just a couple of them, and turn it over and see if it looks okay. And I think it looks okay to me. Sometimes you can go a little up and down if there's a little wiggle room, but I think it is okay here. So I will just swip these metal things down. There and there. And this is something you can use for hanging, I think, this here. But I will just find a nail and hang it onto there. So let us turn it over again. So here, whoops, here it is. I am quite satisfied with it, and I really think this color here can take a black frame. It's not everything I think looks nice in a black frame. So this was a roll-off sheet and embroidery. I really hope you have been inspired, and you perhaps have learned some tips and tricks about stitching into paper and using your roll-off sheets and stitch on them and make some nice things for your walls. There are so many things you can do with these roll-off sheets here, and backing them with this Flisofix is an idea for you who wants to do freehand embroidery, and also perhaps for you who are insecure on how to stitch into a very thin piece of paper. With this backing you are more secure. I have learned I don't need that, because I've stitched so much into paper. It was more annoying to me, because it took a lot longer for me to stitch, because the whole poke is more blurred out, if you can say so. But I ended up with a very nice piece, I think, and I have put it in this black frame, and I think this frame does something good for my piece here. So now I will go and find a place in my house where there is a free nail and hang it, so you can see it hanging on the wall. But I hope you have been inspired, and if you have and you like what you have been seeing, please give my video a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing my little Danish channel. That would be very much appreciated. And you can also give me a comment on what you think of this kind of art for your walls. It is always nice to hear from you what you think about these things, and also if there's something you would like me to make a video with, give me a comment about that, and perhaps I can fulfill your wish. You never know what I'm going to do with that. It could be many different things. But anyhow, I just want to say thank you for now, and say please take care of yourself and people around you, and please play and be creative the best you can in these crazy times here. So be nice to everybody. That is my final words for today. So I will just say bye bye and see you soon again. Hej hej.